Joining us right now is the former director of strategic communications for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign and president of Elrod Strategies, Adrian Elrod, along with former special assistant to President Trump and former press secretary to Vice President Pence, Mark Lauder. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria.
Adrian, let me ask you, what do you think of when what do you say when you hear all about this bias at the top of the FBI, the bias at the top of the Department of Justice during the presidential election, where they were very favorable toward Hillary Clinton and basically created this narrative against Donald Trump? What's your take on it?
Well, I wouldn't exactly say that they were favorable toward Hillary Clinton, because I strongly believe that Comey reopening the investigation 12 days before the campaign is why we lost, or a primary reason why we lost. But look, I think these comments by Senator Cruz are very disturbing, and yet another example of Republicans trying to undermine the credibility of Robert Mueller in the investigation. That's exactly why we need this bipartisan bill that Democrats and Republicans are pushing in Congress. Allow it to come to the floor so that Bob Mueller will be protected from being fired by Donald Trump.
Right. No, but Adrian, actually, when you look at what took place, Jim Comey wrote an exoneration letter for Hillary Clinton even before he did the interview. When she did the interview at the FBI, it wasn't recorded. It wasn't on the record. We saw all the texts from Peter Strzok and his girlfriend, Lisa Page, where they wanted an insurance policy. And now we know from the chairman of the Intel Committee that, in fact, there was no official intelligence used to launch an attack on Donald Trump and an investigation on Donald Trump. So to me, it looks like the collusion was with Hillary Clinton and the FBI, actually.
No, I completely respectfully disagree, Maria. Let's also remember that Strzok and Page were both immediately removed from this committee when these text messages were discovered.
They actually still work at the FBI, and they have security clearances still. They still
from the
are
special
there.
counsel. They were removed from being a part of the investigation into the special counsel.
Mark Lauder, how do you see it?
I agree with you, Maria. I mean, there are some very disturbing things that have taken place by a very small handful of people at the top of the FBI and the Justice Department under the former administration. But those things are being looked at right now by the Inspector General. There's been a criminal referral, possibly involving former Deputy Director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, for the way he was conducting himself during that time period. So there are very serious concerns. But once again, the White House has said over and over again, including yesterday, there's been no discussions about firing Director Mueller, and that's why that Senator McConnell is saying that this bill to protect him is just nothing more than a political sham, like their lawsuit from the Democratic National Committee, just trying to keep their Russian narrative alive when there's absolutely no there.
Hey, Adrian, it's Kevin Kelly. One of the questions I have is, do you think Democrats are going to sort of keep this narrative up through the election, and then hopefully when the 2018 elections are over, everyone will sort of move on and hopefully Mueller will kind of wind down his investigation? Or do you see it ramping up and dogging the Trump presidency for the remaining few years?
Well, I see Democrats going into 2018 and beyond. I mean, it's kind of irrelevant from the actual midterms. Doing everything we can to protect the Mueller investigation. It's incredibly important that Robert Mueller be able to carry out his investigation with integrity, without any sort of undue influence from the administration. I think that's what we're focused on doing.
This is that is a bill or a cockamamie idea cooked up because people hate Trump.
Right.
About this bill to prevent him from firing Bob Mueller. In fact, if you look at it, it's unconstitutional. It takes the power of the executive branch and tries to hand it to somebody else or another part of the government. Antonin Scalia would be screaming to the high heavens where he is right now if he was still on planet Earth about this.
That's absolutely
and that's why Mitch McConnell has said he's not going to touch it, essentially, that he's not going to bring the bill up for a vote.
Meanwhile, you've got two GOP chairmen striking a deal with the Department of Justice for documents tied to the FBI investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email server. The joint statement from Congressman Bob Goodlatte and Trey Gowdy reads in part this: "We look forward to reviewing the information to better understand the decisions made by the Department of Justice in 2016 and 17. Congress has a constitutional responsibility to preserve the integrity of our justice system by ensuring transparency and accountability of actions taken." Adrian, how do you see that?
I mean, I see this as, why are we spending time on this anymore? I mean, this is a case closed situation. It was
because it's obstruction. Because it's obstruction of justice.
It was closed. It was closed before the campaign. It was closed before the midterms. Look, if Goodlatte and Gowdy want to focus their time on this, fine. But I frankly think it's a waste of their time. I think it's a waste of taxpayer dollars, and I think it's a waste of the Department of Justice time to produce these documents.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, were you there when the DNC got hacked?
I was on Hillary Clinton's campaign when this happened.
So what was the answer for her not giving the servers to the FBI? Why would she not give the server? I mean, you're the DNC. You get hacked. All your emails are out there in the public view. Why wouldn't you want the strength and the power and the might of the FBI to figure out exactly who hacked you and what went on? Why not give up the servers? And why hire a private company so that the servers are kept away from the FBI?
Well, look, I think she had a lot of reasons for not turning over the servers to the FBI.
What's the reason?
She produced all the emails that were asked, and those emails were investigated, and then it was determined by the FBI and by the Department of Justice that Hillary Clinton did not do anything wrong, and she apologized.
Right, exactly.
But again, this was in 2000. This was in 2016. Case closed. I think this is another way for Republicans to continue to try to distract from the problems that they're facing as a party.
Now, actually, it was the Democrats that distracted, Adrian. Let's be clear. They didn't give up the server after they were hacked, and instead they brought in a private company to investigate the server rather than giving it to the FBI. That's where the obstruction lies right now. And Hillary Clinton paid for the dossier along with the DNC, which was used to wiretap a member of Donald Trump's team. That we know for a fact, Adrian.
Well, we also know that there's a lot of information in the dossier that has been independently corroborated by the FBI and by the special counsel.
No, actually, it's unverified. This is all unverified in the dossier.
Well, again, let's let the Mueller investigation play out. Let's let it play out, Maria. Let's let it play out.
Mark, if you want the Mueller investigation to play out, shouldn't you also want this investigation to play out? I mean, why so much concern about one happening and the other closing up quickly? Don't we need both?
Well, I mean, it's typical. I mean, Democrats want a double standard. They don't want to go back and look at the things that they did with their collusion, with the fact that Loretta Lynch, according to Jim Comey's book, may have been compromised, and that's why he took the steps that he took in that entire situation. There's a lot of information that needs to be uncovered here, and I think that's where you're going to see Congress continue to look into it. The Inspector General is still looking into the actions that took place at the FBI, at the Department of Justice, and we just need to get all of this information out in public and then get it behind us. We've got too many good things going on in this country, from an economic standpoint to the way of our standing on the world stage under the leadership of President Trump. We don't need to be going back and always rehashing this. Let's talk about the great things that are happening right now.
So what is this agreement that Trey Gowdy and Bob Goodlatte have engineered with the Justice Department, Mark?
Well, it sounds to me that they're going to go back and get a lot of the documents that have not been turned over yet, as it may relate to communications and other documents during that time period. And so since they're investigatory documents, sometimes obviously there's some issues there. There may be some classifications, but it's great that they're working with the Department of Justice. We're going to put the politics behind us on this, and let's just get the information out there. Let the American people decide.
All right, we will leave it there. Adrian Elrod, Mark Lauder, good to see you both. Thank you very much.
Thank you.